Our audience loves our episodes, and they love our episodes when we have guests and have all these great dynamic conversations, but they also love just apparently listening to just the two of us, and they want more of that. So, as we move through this season, we're going to do more episodes with just the two of us chatting about, what's on our mind, current events, whatever. Yeah. And so today is one of those episodes. Hey, Julia.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. I have a cup of great decaf coffee, water.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got a bunch of beverages around me today.
Oh, good. Yeah, I have a few as well. But I got to tell you a story.
Okay.
This is gonna blow your mind. So last week we did our podcast. We did a great recording. It was a great episode. And I had a person here, a guy here who was refurbishing our front door. Just basic house stuff. And later that afternoon, I guess he was about to leave, and there was a couple of dogs that were running around outside. Anyway, so he ended up getting them and putting them in his truck because another lady was walking her dog and the dogs were going after her dog or whatever. So anyway, long story short, he's like, I gotta go, but there's these two dogs that are running loose and there's no collar on them and no anything. So can you take them? And I'm like, well, sure. I mean, I'm sure that they're a neighbor's dog, because they're two little dogs. One's like a little Yorkie and another's like another dog they're both very well groomed and, so they clearly belong to someone. So we take them and put them in our backyard thinking, well, someone's just going to be right behind looking for these dogs. Oh my gosh, what a saga it became. I mean, it was hilarious. These dogs, they're so funny. I have to put a video up on Instagram or something. So they were here for overnight. Mm-hmm. I ended up going on to the Next Door. There's this social media app.
Yeah, Next Door.
Yeah, which I'm not on it, but I have an account. So I had to, and I couldn't even remember what it was called. So I had to Google to try to figure out what's the name of this thing. And then I go on and I say, found two dogs, if they're yours, reach out to me. And then Dennis and I put up signs and walked around the neighborhood, found, two little dogs, put my phone number. And then I ended up taking them in my car to the vet to scan them if they had a chipped, which they had. And so the chip company calls the owner. And so we ended up having these dogs all night. Oh my God. So it turns out that they're our neighbors' dogs that literally live diagonally across the street. I can see their house from where I'm sitting right now, but the dogs are never outside. So we didn't know that it was their dogs. The one dog, their names are Hercules and Xena. And these are tiny little dogs.
Yeah,
he barked all night long. Didn't stop. I didn't know a dog could bark that long. It was the craziest. It was crazy.
That's because you have a cat. You don't deal with that.
Yes.
And little dogs make a lot of noise.
Yes.
Little dogs make a lot of noise.
A lot of noise. We have a calm, quiet cat who's old. It was the craziest, I don't know. It wasn't even 24 hours. It was the craziest, 14 hours because they were the sweetest dogs. So nice. We would go out in the backyard, petting, loving on them, super friendly, jump in my lap, cuddle, cuddle, cuddle. But then we would go inside, bark, 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 all night long. We didn't get a single bit of sleep. It was hilarious.
Yeah, because they're inside dogs. You have them outside.
And they had anxiety too, because it wasn't
But they're inside dogs who are outside. They're we walk and do things outside, but we don't exist outside. And
no,
so, that's what it is.
He was just, the one little dog didn't bark. She was really sweet. But Hercules, he was barking all over the place, eating the inside of our fence, chewing on everything. Oh my God. It was so crazy. It was the craziest,
So how did they get out of the neighbor's house? Did you ask
I don't know.
Okay.
And she said, super nice couple. I mean, we have talked to them before and stuff, just didn't know that these were their dogs. But she ended up reaching out, found the sign. Her son found the sign on his way to school. So that's what, she didn't reach out to me till 8:00 the next morning. It's oh my God, maybe they're out of town. What are we going to do with these dogs? We can't keep them.
Maybe she wanted a break from them because the little bit of Hercules barks all the time. And maybe she was I got a reprieve. I have 24 hours. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it.
That is it. Oh my God. So I
Okay.
just had to tell you that crazy story. But I also, one of the other things, so getting back to the podcast is, our audience loves our episodes, and they love our episodes when we have guests and have all these great dynamic conversations, but they also love just apparently listening to just the two of us, and they want more of that. So, as we move through the season, we're going to do more episodes with just the two of us chatting about, what's on our mind, current events, whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
And so today is one of those episodes.
Yes, I'm excited. Okay, so
you got a topic for me?
Okay, I know we're Memorial Day is the unofficial start of summer. That's how everybody wants to call it. I understand, which means people only think they can drink rosé in the summertime, and it is the bane of my existence. Literally, when people send me articles, and you have all these, and I'm doing this air quotes, tastemakers who are like, you should not drink rosé until June 1st. And then actually ended August 31st. And
I've never read that. Wow.
Oh, I just read it in the Times, in the UK Times. Like there's all these speakers are being interviewed. Yeah. And you have a few of them who are like, let people live. And I am like that too.
Let people live.
Let them drink. It is one of those things like everybody wants to put a parameter on something that someone wants to do. It is one of those things too. Rosé is year round. I know that everybody put it on and it was Yes Ray's Rosé and it was all about summer and all about that. I like rosé year round. I like it during the holiday. I like it when it's cold. I like it when it's like freezing outside. I like it when it's hot outside. And it is one of those things that is like, this is why I think consumers don't like necessarily talking about wine with wine people. Is because it's so many rules, so much this, so much that, instead of going like, okay, I like rosé in March. Okay, well, we know it's coming into the market and that's how it is. And the fact of it is, I think if people had better rosé, because there's so much bad rosé out there, I think if they had better rosé, then they could actually see it as a wine to have in like the fall into the winter and all that. But it's one of those things like, I read a lot of these people send them to me too. So
okay, and then like, don't read them.
Read them because it's like also you make like taste is subjective, just like wine.
Yeah.
And some of these people, I look and I'm like, you have no taste. Like you have no taste. Like to tell people, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and you shouldn't do this, and all these rules. And it's like, can we just stop with the rules? Like, just can we, for a moment, the world is a hot mess, literally. Can we literally at this time just say, you know what? These kind of rules, let people drink what they want. It's one of those things like, if, you go to the south of France, they're putting ice in their rosé, like at the pool, because they're drinking it all day. I don't care what you do with wine you buy.
There you go.
I really don't care if that's what you want and you bought it. No, I wouldn't. No, if I'm pouring it, absolutely not. If I'm like, but if that's what you want to do, have at it. But it's kind of like now it's like, don't do this for Memorial Day, and you have to do this by like 4th of July, and you have to do
like
this.
The white pants too. Like, we've moved past this. Yes. Like,
no.
Wear your white pants year round while you're drinking your rosé.
But it goes back to
white pants rosé.
I know, but you'll have the fashion people, once again, air quotes, going, well, that's why they make winter white. Well,
winter white is the same color as white.
They will tell you it's different. I am telling you the fashion people will tell you it's different.
There's cream and there's bone, but white is,
My whole thing, the reason I buy white jeans is to wear them year round until they're so dingy that I literally cannot get the dinge off with bleach and whatever cleaner you try to put on in your clothes.
Yeah.
They're meant like, once again, if I want to, because I still think it's that whole after Easter, before, after Easter and, before Labor Day, kind of for some people. And my thing of it is, if you bought it, wear it. You don't want to have to look at it. Like, I don't care.
I love wearing white in winter. I have this beautiful, like bright white cashmere sweater with these beautiful white wool pants. I wear them together. It's like, next time I wear them, I'm going to drink rosé.
And take a photo and let the world know that it is okay to do those things.
Will. Oh, yeah.
Because it's just like, I think we have enough to worry about.
Wearing white.
Yeah, I think we have enough to worry about. And that's not it. It's just not it. But if because it's all those like, it's like, people talk about summer reads, like I'm reading, and all that. And then people are like, well, what are you drinking? Or like, you don't drink red in the summer. And I'm like, What? Like it's
Yeah,
all
dude.
these. Yeah. So I'm just sick of the rules. I'm sick of
Yeah.
the wine rules.
Come
Drink.
to just getting better to break the rules.
Yeah, break the rules. Drink what you like. Like, okay.
I almost chose a rosé today, but I
Okay.
chose to push it because I just did the Big Table Farm rosé
Yeah. Okay.
recently, and so
Yeah.
I didn't want to do two rosés too close together. But
Oh, yeah.
but I have a rosé on in queue that I'm going to bring. That is actually, I think, a perfect rosé for year-round drinking. Because some rosé, it just kind of depends on. Sometimes, like people talk about, as you already mentioned, like big reds in the winter, whites in the
Hmm.
summer. It's like no, drink what. I mean, sometimes I love a white that's crisp and refreshing in the middle of like this cold, dark season, and rosé's the same. Lift your
Yeah,
spirits.
and
But
I don't
I'm a
mean like
big
all rosés. I mean, some
yes.
rosés really
Yeah.
won't even have the
Yeah.
lifespan of going into
Yeah. I mean,
December.
I kind of feel like rosé should be a standard on a Thanksgiving table,
Oh, it
certain
has
rosés, gastronomical rosés, like you want that on your Thanksgiving
yeah,
table.
because you got all that weird food at Thanksgiving. It's somebody,
Yeah.
somebody bringing things we know is like a hodgepodge of flavors and everybody
Yeah.
cooks differently and things
Yeah.
like that. But I also feel like if you want that like gastronomic rosé, even I think
Hmm.
people really kind of go all out for Thanksgiving and Christmas now is a little less food wise. It's food,
Yeah.
but not as big as Thanksgiving. I'm
Yeah.
like, everybody can be happy. And you don't
Yeah.
have to have, I need a red and I need a white and I need this and I need that. Just stick a bunch of rose. They'll drink it. It's free.
Yeah.
It's free.
Absolutely. Well, and I know bubbles bring the party and rosé brings the smile.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Rose
I love
brings the
rosé.
fire. I love it.
I'll
Yeah.
drink a good rosé
So
anytime.
let's quit telling people how to drink rose. Just let them
Okay.
drink rose
Every day.
every day.
Yes,
Yeah.
rosé every
Okay.
day.
What's your
So, all
topic?
right. Well, my topic, I'm going to bring us down a little bit. I'm gonna get a little bit serious with with you and our
Oh Lord.
audience today.
Okay.
So I've been reading the Daily Skim,
Mm-hmm.
which I actually really enjoy.
It's a great newsletter.
I just started getting it just a couple of weeks ago as we're kind of moving into this, looking for kind of hot topics and things
Yeah.
like that, going through it, and I've really enjoyed it, and so it turned me on to a topic that I actually have found great solace in because it gave me a word and an understanding of something that I've been experiencing for a while. So I'm going to take you a little bit through a story. The word that I'm talking about is hypernormalization. But over the past few years, 2020, we had COVID.
Yeah.
And, the world changed, everything shut down, everything this, that. I mean, we all have been through it in our own ways. And so during that period of time, I also started kind of moving into the height of my perimenopause stage. And so I don't, sometimes, they say hindsight's 2020. And I realize that when I look back and go, oh, this is what's kind of been. And so coming out of COVID, like I said, I've been having this conversation with my therapist, with my husband, with friends. You and I have talked about it. Like this malaise, this kind of doldrum, this kind of like, why is my life the same and yet not at all the same? Because I work from home. Work from home. We're either on the road or working from home.
Mm-hmm.
And so that hasn't really changed. But because of a lot of the perimenopausal symptoms I was experiencing, I have cut back on my travel quite a bit for work because it just was wreaking havoc on my body. The schedule, the travel, the push, go, go, go. I needed to reset. I needed to get back into a normal exercise routine and stuff. And so so that's a lot of benefit. I've benefited a lot from that, physically and in some ways emotionally and mentally, but I've also not benefited from it because I'm not out in the world as much as I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And around, we work in the wine industry. It's great people. I have so many friends out in the world that I don't get to see a lot. Like you, I see you through a screen. I don't get to hug you and oh, Julia, as much as I want to and touch you and laugh with you and, that kind of, and so many other people. And then, my husband too, he used to go to work every day in an office, take an hour to get to work, an hour to get home, traffic, and now, he works upstairs in our daughter's old bedroom. So, and we've become so comfortable at home that then I don't always want to leave home. I go to hockey games and it's getting me there. Sometimes I'm so like just muted. All the
Mhm.
bright colors of life just feel very muted to me. And it's really kind of been bothering me to the point where my therapist is like, it's almost like you have long COVID. Like the way that I'm describing how I'm feeling, he's
Mhm.
like, it's almost like you have long COVID, except for I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't even had COVID. So I don't, but mentally, emotionally. And then just last week, I was reading something in the Daily Skim that took me to an article in The Guardian about hypernormalization. And so apparently, comedian Ashley Bez, who I got to be honest with you, Julia, I was not familiar with, but
I'm
now
not
I'm like,
familiar. Yeah. Okay.
we need to have her on the podcast.
Okay.
Ashley Bez, I would love to have Ashley Bez on the
Okay.
podcast. And she did a video in January, just kind of like, how come everything feels so? And then she was kind of like, like I don't
Mhm.
have the words. I don't know how to describe. Everything just feels so. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so it. And then this woman who is a digital anthropologist, who I also want to have on the
You talking
podcast.
about Fushi?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I've DM'd a lot with her before for years because she lives in Burgundy.
Oh, does
Like,
she?
yeah. Like,
Rahat?
Raha. Yeah. I call it,
Yeah.
well, Fushi is her name, her
Okay.
Instagram handle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her Instagram. Yes.
Yes. She lives in France.
Rahaf, Harfouche.
Yes.
I'm probably just
Yeah.
mess.
That's why I
She
say
lives in
Fushi.
Burgundy?
Yeah. She lives,
Well,
yeah.
I didn't know that. But then she did a video that's now gotten like 9 million views
Mhm.
explaining what Ashley Bez is talking about, which is this idea of hypernormalization. And so I'm just going to read this real quick for people, because it's like a big $10 word.
It's a big word.
And it first was put out in 2005 by a scholar who's describing civilian experience in Soviet Russia. But so what it says is the first is people seeing that government systems and institutions are broken. So we see that everything that we thought was propping up our country and our democracy is broken across the board. And then the second is that we have, because of this lack of effective leadership and this inability for us to imagine how to disrupt the status quo, we carry on with our lives as if our lives are normal, despite the systemic dysfunction.
Okay.
And then it gives us this takeaway of this heavy load, this fear, this dread, this denial, this disassociation. So we're living in this 2025 time where everything around us is bleeding and on fire. And we're so lost with what to do and how to process it that we just carry on our daily lives like nothing has changed. But it's not normal. We know that it's, like we just don't. And so we're in this hyper normalization of trying to make sense of our lives through the mundane. She has this great example about something. Let me see if I can find this real quick about this Pop-Tart. She's like, it's like reading an article about hunger and genocide. And then you scroll down the article and there's a quiz about what Pop-Tart are you? So it's like this catastrophic thing of like there's hunger and genocide. Maybe it's in Gaza, maybe it's in Ukraine, maybe it's in somewhere, on the continent of Africa. And then, the next like link is, so what, let's take a quiz. What Pop-Tart flavor are you? And it's like, what? Like what's happening? What's going on with my brain? So that's where I'm really, I don't have a solution. The solutions are getting involved, getting active, be part of community, try to be service. But I've been doing all of that. And
Is the solution also, okay.
Please.
I believe we're still have a PTSD from the pandemic.
Yeah.
Everyone. I am a believer that we're in a PTSD. We're living through this regime again. It is heavy in a lot of, like, it is just a lot. You see so much funding cut to, like, for me, the arts, education, all that stuff, right? And then you're supposed to go on, and I'm like, let's just drink this wine. Like, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those, you have to say, okay, I'm going to get out with people, and not always in service, maybe also in fun, right?
Well,
and you're doing
both.
That,
yes,
right?
Yes.
But
I'm doing that. Yes.
But at the rate of everything that keeps happening is faster than you're actually doing this. It's faster than we're all doing it, right? Like, okay, you might go to a game once a few days, but every single day the world is on fire. So like it is, no matter how many games you go, we can't stop that the world is on fire.
Like, and as an Enneagram 8, like I'm one of those, personality types that takes in the information. I have a stern, like kind of part of my DNA is justice. And so like, I can't look away. I mean, I can, but I just can't. It's just, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with me.
Sometimes I am just like, I'm always like, I'm not reading this. I'm not listening to this. I don't want to hear about it this week. I am just, because it's something every day. And I always am like, and you know me, I'm like the happy person. I'm usually happy. The glass is usually half full. But some days it's like, this world just feels like, oh, somebody has his literally foot on your back.
Yes, it does feel like that to me. And I wonder, if some of it I'm doing to myself, because I wake up in the morning and I do my, my spiritual centering and stuff as people do. But I read Heather Cox Richardson, who I also want to have on the podcast, who we've been trying to get every morning.
I think she's an afternoon read. There's no way.
Well, and maybe that's what I need to do, because I read it and then I'm like, okay, I've had my coffee, I play with my cat, I do my devotionals, I read my Heather Cox Richardson, and then I go exercise. So I'm almost like doing the starvation, the genocide, and then the Pop-Tart thing. Like I'm almost doing that to myself.
I wonder how hard it would be if you flipped that, if you if you moved her maybe to afternoon, because I read the news. We talked about this in reading. I can't read her before noon. There is no way I'm going to read it, listen to it before noon. I just don't want to hear it. I'm like, let me have at one part of the day where I'm not one to punch.
Yeah.
Like just,
I mean, she's so great. She gives me what I need to know, but I think I'm just saying, right. I don't know that 7:00 in the morning is probably, I don't know. I would love to also hear from our time.
Like, I know a lot of people, like some people, they go straight, they look at their phone, they go into emails. It's no way I'm going into politics before noon. Like I'm just not going into it. I'm just, no. It's others. And I mean, sometimes it's hard to avoid, because maybe like when you go in your, like an article somebody sends, I still try to click on those later in the day. So my morning, at least for the first 2 hours I'm up, have nothing to do with that. Like just,
I think I'm going to have to try that. But I want to know, like from our audience, like, are you struggling with this hypernormalization, a term that I literally didn't know a week ago? So call it whatever you want. I would call it a malaise, or, kind of a melancholy.
But you'll have the article, you'll have the newsletter link, and then we'll have the video in the show notes so people can go and and maybe, I think a lot of people are like you. You don't have a word for it. And now we do.
Yeah.
Now we don't have a word for that. Yeah.
So, okay. So can I switch gears on you?
Yes.
Now this is we're like slamming on the brakes and taking we're F1ing the apex here going across. So
F1 movie, June 27th.
Oh my God. I know my husband is going out of his mind.
Me too.
So so we're going to add to our talks, the thing on Reddit, Am I the Asshole? And so we have the Am I the Asshole segment today. I'm going to paraphrase this because it's hilarious. So there's a woman who posted something just on Memorial Day talking about, so she's 25, she's about to get married. She has a cousin who I think she's close with, who's 28, who unfortunately last year lost a baby. And in struggling with dealing with this loss of the baby, she got one of those dolls, Reborn, Rebirth, I forget what they're called. It's like a life doll. What? Reborn, Rebirth. The doll that helps a person mourn the loss of a child. And so
I didn't know they had those things.
I'm just telling you what I read.
I didn't know they existed. So okay.
I think I kind of knew, but not a ton. And so the cousin is taking this doll, around everywhere she goes, all the time and caring for it like a real child as a grief processing, so she says in the Reddit. And Memorial Day, the baby was brought to the party, the big family Memorial Day party, and with pictures. She wanted to have it in pictures and this and that, and it caused a big kerfuffle. And so for the wedding, the 25-year-old who's getting married with her fiance, they don't want the doll coming to the wedding. And so that too, all of the family is allowed to bring their kids. Apparently it is a kid-friendly wedding, but she does not want this rebirth doll at the wedding with her cousin. And that too has caused a kerfuffle. So her question is she the asshole?
No. Here's the thing. I understand grief very well. I don't understand that type of grief, but I understand grief.
I know you do. Yeah.
I look at this as it's just not her cousin getting married. It is she's marrying someone else. And that family does not, like, what about that family too? Because that is going to be very weird. And I understand she is going through a grief process. I don't think the girl who's getting married is the asshole. It's a very uncomfortable conversation to have. It's a conversation that probably family members should have had, that now we're at this point a year later, like, hey, we understand, but there also may be a time and a place. I think is very weird for children to see that, because children, they see it and then why does she have a doll and she's an adult? Because they don't process the same way. They're not thinking that's a baby in her grief process. So why? Yeah. I don't think she should bring it to the wedding. And if she has a problem with that, I think she really needs to talk to someone about why she's taking it so personally as another person's wedding. I wouldn't want that at my wedding. I'm just saying. I personally think it's hard, and I think they're probably very close as cousins. They're not far in age; they're very close. But this is her wedding day. Yeah. This isn't a park. This isn't a holiday where all the family's there. And I could understand the family's like, why is this in pictures? Like, how do we explain this photo in 5 years, 10 years?
Well, especially if someday she ends up, getting through this grief process and has a child, and then the child sees her. Yeah. I don't think the girl is the 25-year-old that's getting married. I don't think that she's an asshole at all. I do have some sympathy for the grief. I have some compassion for the grief. We were talking about this. One of my favorite movies of all time is Lars and the Real Girl. Anyone who hasn't seen it, please go watch it. 2007. It is my favorite Ryan Gosling performance of anything he's ever done. But it's a different scenario, but he's grieving the loss of his mom. He's grieving the fear of his sister-in-law who's pregnant, that she may die giving birth like his mom did with him. And so he's got this doll, and it's a full life woman, and Bianca, and they think it's a sex toy. It's not a sex toy. He's like, built a relation, and his whole family kind of comes around to embracing her, to give him the skills he needs then to let her go. But I think he also probably is on the spectrum, and there's some other things going on. So it's not a one-to-one scenario. But I think if it's your wedding, you're allowed to.
At the wedding, you allowed. Yeah. I'm sorry, and
brides ask for a lot, more, trivial things
than like this. Like, because here's the thing: when they do the family photo.
Yeah.
Also, it's not just her. She's marrying someone. What is that family thinking?
Well, exactly.
She's married into that family.
What if she could bring it to the wedding, but no photos?
She's not going to happen. I guarantee that. It sounds like it's an all or nothing kind of like, but I don't think it should be brought to the wedding. I don't think it needs to be near the wedding, near the photos, near anything. I think someone needs to really have a talk with her and say, hey, we're here with you. We know this has been hard for you. We're not discounting that, but there is a time and a place.
I hope she's in grief counseling. Yeah.
I hope she does too, but I hope a counselor tells her, like, this is just not that moment. Mm-hmm. This is just not that moment.
So to the girl that posted the Reddit, we do not think you're the asshole.
You're not the asshole.
So weigh in, audience. Let us know. Hit us up on social media, or
I want to know in the comments when people see this, because
drop a comment.
They're gonna be just like, okay. So I have to tell you about 2 books.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So we're gonna. Yeah.
We got to go. Okay. So Chris Pavone, the doorman,
Mm-hmm.
he wrote his. I started reading him from the very beginning. He wrote a book called The Expats, and it's a thriller about a couple living away, and she is kind of like CIA, something like that. So he's one of my favorite writers. I love him. I love his newsletter. Every time I get it, I'm like, oh, what is he writing now? And he has a new one called The Doorman, and it just came out. And it is one of those, he talks about like politics and what is happening in the world in a just so thoughtful and great way, but he interweaves it through this like thriller. And it's always, every time I finish one of his thriller books, I'm like, I am smarter because this man can write a really good sentence.
Oh, cool.
Like, it's just one of those, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then The High Dive by Chelsea Fagan. A lot of people know Chelsea she started the website, The Financial Diet.
Oh, okay.
The Finance for Women website. But
Awesome. We should have her on too.
Yeah, she is an amazing fiction writer. Her first book was called The Perfect Vintage. Devoured this. And this one takes place on a yacht. And it's all the things like great characters, too much money, acting bad, love it. It's like those like poolside books, but she is just also a great fiction writer. And so those are my two books I'm currently reading right now, and that is like one of those things. I just love those books. Those are the kind of books like I'm at the point. I don't read any book that I am not going to enjoy. So like when I see these lists, 100 books you should read before you die. Most of those I had to read because I'm an English literature major. Never reading Ulysses again. Never reading James Joyce. Not any of that. No Edith Wharton. Done. Not picking them up. No. Just kind of like, I just want to read for enjoyment, and these are the kind of books I enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's really it. And I'm still listening to Cowboy Carter. So
there you go. There you go. Always Cowboy Carter. I'm not going to talk about the book that I'm just about to finish because I'll talk about it for it's my June book selection.
Okay.
It's so good. But So I could go on about what I'm watching forever, but for the sake of time, again, I'm just going to kind of circle back to an article real quick, and that I also discovered through the Daily Skim. I'm giving them quite a promo this week. I don't mean but the first one I talked about, they linked to The Guardian. So I want to give a shout out also to Variety for covering this particular piece. And this was Nicole Kidman, who won the Caring Women in Motion Award at the Cannes Film Festival. And she, I think back in 2017 said that at least every 18 months, she was going to work with a female director. And she's actually worked with 27 of them.
Wow.
And yes. And now she's saying she's, also making a conscious effort, female directors, female writers, female cinematographers, all female crew, and just really, she had a conversation with Meryl Streep, and the two of them were like, when we're in this position, we can't just talk about this. We have to put our money where our mouth is. So I applaud her very much for that. And I just want to share this quote real quick that's in the article that Nicole Kidman says, because she's talking about ageism. The whole thing is about age. It's not just women, it's ageism. And so as us women in our 50s, she said, we need to give women better roles, particularly as they get older. We are here and we can prove to you that we will make money for you, older women. Yes, invest in us and believe in us because our voices are so important. We will help change the world. Yes. But we will also give you a glimpse of our hearts and our souls and what it means to be a woman. If you give us a chance, we are so ready. And, she backs that up because her movie Baby Girl that she was nominated, I think, was she nominated for an Oscar in that role? I think she was. It grossed $64.5 million worldwide. So we are, women in our 50s. We are here. Give us a chance. Give us a choice. We will make you money.
Yes. That's what we're going to do. Yes. And Nicole, I need Big Little Lies to come back so I can watch it. So
yes.
So,
love you. Well, she's got the 9 Perfect Strangers coming out, so we'll have to check out season 2. On Hulu. Season 2. So so great. Thank you. And thanks to our audience. We hope that you like this abbreviated version of us talking about some couple of topics. And we'll keep doing this. So we'll cover up on all sorts of things. And you know where to find us on social media, and make sure that you like and follow and recommend us to your friends.
All the things.
All the things. Thanks for listening to Just Getting Better with your host, Michelle Williams
and Julia Coney.
We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into some important topics impacting women today. To ensure you never miss an episode, click follow or subscribe.
Head over to isjustgettingbetter.com to sign up for our email list, as well as check out all the links and resources in the show notes. And be sure to follow us on social media. If you love the show, will you please help us build our community by sharing it with friends? Until next time,
keep just getting better.